Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we help you understand what's really going on behind those fancy corporate filings. And let's just say First Community Corporation might have a surprise or two up its sleeve this time around. First Community Corporation is a company that you might know from its stock symbol FCO. They've just released a report and it's all about what they're doing and how they're presenting themselves to investors. Think of it as a status update from the company to everyone who might be interested in owning a piece of it. The report is dated July 28, 2025. This means they're telling us what's happening around that time. A lot of these reports are about sharing information, and this one is no different. They're essentially saying, here's what's going on with us. This specific filing is called a Form 8K. Now you might be thinking, what's an 8K? Well, it's like a special bulletin a company sends out when something important happens that the public needs to know about. Something that isn't just regular business as usual. It's for those moments when the door opens a little wider and you get a peek at something significant. First Community Corporation has its common stock traded on the Nasdaq stock market, which is a pretty well-known place for companies to list their shares. This is how people buy and sell ownership in the company. One of the main things they're doing here is using what's called Regulation FD disclosure. In simple terms, this rule is all about making sure that when a company shares important information, it shares it with everyone at the same time, not just a select few. It's about fairness in communication. So what exactly are they sharing? They're providing investor presentation materials. Think of these as slides and talking points that the company's managers, the big bosses, will use when they meet with potential investors. This particular presentation is happening at the Keith Bruyette & Woods Annual Community Bank Investor Conference. It's a place where banks and companies that work with banks get together to talk business, and for companies like First Community to get their story out. They're meeting with investors to talk about their company, likely highlighting their performance and future plans. This report also tells us what exhibits are included. Exhibits are like the supporting documents for the main filing. It's where you find the actual presentation materials they're talking about. The key document here is Exhibit 99.1, which is literally the First Community Corporation investor presentation. This is where the real juicy details might be, showing how they want to be seen by people thinking of investing. It's their chance to put their best foot forward. And who's signing off on all this important information? It looks like Sean Jordan, who holds the title of Chief Financial Officer. That's the person in charge of the company's money matters. So their signature lends authority to this report. Now, even though this 8K filing focuses on disclosing the investor presentation, which isn't a detailed financial report in itself, we can infer the company is actively seeking investor engagement. The very act of presenting at a specialized conference like the Keith Bruyette & Woods Annual Community Bank Investor Conference signals a proactive approach to capital markets. These events are crucial for community banks to showcase their strategic direction, financial health and growth prospects to a targeted audience of analysts and investors who understand the nuances of the banking sector. While we don't have specific financial numbers directly in this 8K, beyond the company's listing details, the context of the presentation materials is key. Companies typically use these presentations to highlight their recent financial performance, discuss their market position, outline their strategic initiatives for growth, and provide guidance on future expectations. For First Community Corporation, belonging to the community bank sector means their story likely revolves around local economic conditions, loan portfolio quality, interest rate environments, and regulatory landscapes that directly impact their operations. Hidden därför rätt Accession Number when their strategic initiatives for growth and provide guidance on future expectations. For First Community Corporation, belonging to the community bank sector means their story likely revolves around local economic conditions, loan portfolio quality, interest rate environments, and regulatory landscapes that directly impact their operations. Think about it this way. If a company is going to an investor conference and preparing presentations, they wouldn't do it unless they had something positive to share, or at least a compelling story to tell about overcoming challenges. For a community bank, this often means talking about strong deposit bases, prudent lending practices, and a deep understanding of their local customer needs. They might be highlighting how they're navigating economic shifts, perhaps by diversifying their services or embracing new technologies to serve their clients better. The fact that Mr. Jordan, the CFO, is signing off tells us this is an official communication about the company's external engagement strategy. It shows that the financial team is involved in how the company presents itself and its value to the investment community. From a broader perspective, being a community bank in today's world involves a lot of balancing acts. They need to offer competitive rates and services to attract customers, manage the risks associated with lending, comply with a host of regulations, and still find ways to grow profitability. Investors at a conference like this will be looking for evidence that First Community Corporation is successfully managing these challenges. They'll want to see that the bank has a clear strategy and the financial discipline to execute it. We can also infer that the investor presentation likely touches upon key performance indicators that are important in the banking industry. This could include metrics like net interest margin, loan growth, deposit growth, asset quality, and efficiency ratios. These would be the numbers management would want to emphasize or explain to investors at the conference. Without the actual presentation, we're looking at the company's intention to communicate these aspects. The preparation and dissemination of investor presentations are a core part of investor relations, aiming to build confidence and support the company's valuation. Given that the presentation is for July 28-30, 2025, it's safe to assume it reflects information and strategy relevant to that period, possibly covering recent quarterly results or providing an outlook for the remainder of the year. Looking at the structure of this filing, it's quite straightforward. It announces that they are providing materials for investors. It tells us where and when these materials will be used. And it lists the materials themselves, mainly the investor presentation. It's a direct communication about their investor outreach activities. So what's the takeaway? First Community Corporation is actively engaging with the investment world. They are not just sitting back. They are going out and presenting their case to a specialized audience of investors. This shows a forward-thinking approach to managing their public profile and securing potential investment or continued support. While this specific 8K doesn't contain deep financial tables themselves, it points to where those financial discussions are happening in their investor presentations. Understanding the context of these presentations is key to understanding the company's current narrative and its appeal to the capital markets. In essence, this filing is a signal. It's a signal that First Community Corporation is in the business of telling its story to investors, and they're doing it through formal presentations at important industry events. The success of these presentations, of course, depends on the underlying financial health and strategic clarity of the company, which would be detailed in the presentation materials themselves. Now looking at this entire filing, it's very clear that the company is prioritizing communication with its investor base. They are using the Form 8K not for a major operational update, but to inform stakeholders about their participation in a key investor conference and to make available the materials they will use. This is a standard practice for publicly traded companies, especially those in sectors like banking, where investor confidence and access to capital are paramount. What we can assess from this filing is the company's commitment to transparency and outreach. They are providing the necessary documentation to ensure that information shared at the conference is accessible in line with regulated policy. Importance of clear stance in investor relations is often seen positively by the market, as it suggests a well-managed company that understands the importance of clear communication. The specific mention of the Keefe, Bruyette and Woods Inc. Annual Community Bank Investor Conference is also a clue. This is a known event in the financial calendar for banks, indicating that First Community Corporation is positioning itself among its peers and seeking to capture the attention of investors who specialize in this sector. This targeted approach suggests a strategic focus on communicating with the most relevant audience. Our final take on this filing is that while it's light on its own raw financial data, it's a crucial pointer towards where the detailed financial discussions are taking place. First Community Corporation is actively participating in the financial marketplace, using investor conferences as a platform to present their performance and outlook. The CFO's sign-off also adds weight to the official nature of this communication. It's a reminder that behind every public company is a deliberate effort to shape its narrative for investors, and this 8K is a piece of that ongoing story. Alright, that's our breakdown of First Community Corporation's latest filing. What's your take on their proactive investor outreach? Do you think this kind of engagement is more important than detailed financials in an 8K? Drop your thoughts in the comments below if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. If you want to join a community of like-minded individuals discussing these topics, make sure to check out our Discord linked in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.